I'll admit, kiddos, you had potential. Before we hop into this discussion on the wasted potential of the Holy Knights, please do me a favor and leave your own thoughts on the Holy Knights' wasted potential and how to fix it in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I'm Pencil here, and here we are to discuss the wasted potential of the Holy Knights and how I think we can sort of fix it. Kind of. This is difficult, mainly because of why the Holy Knights got written out of the narrative. Now, slight little meta thing with Nakaba I've discovered after reading his series. He's not really a power scaler, and by that I mean he doesn't really care if a character is too weak. He'll find some way to make them stronger if he really wants to keep them in the narrative. That's something that he'll do for anybody. It's how the series works, essentially. Meliodas, make him stronger. Diane, make her stronger. Everyone, make them stronger. Like, Merlin gets stronger for literally no reason. Sure, Infinity was a cool reveal, but in the grand scheme of things, she shouldn't have gotten as strong as she did with no off-screen training. She just happened to remember, oh, wow, my magic is Infinity. Let me get a bajillion times stronger. And then she did it again towards the end of the series. And then she did it again after that. Like, look at the Sin's pre-Demon King fight and look at the Sin's actual Demon King fight. There's way too many discrepancies. Like, the thing is, Nakaba is not a power scaler. So saying the Holy Knights were just power crept out of the narrative isn't the only problem, because anybody can get power crept out of the narrative. Heck, you could argue some of the Sins got power crept out of the narrative for a while, a long while. Look at Bond. So there's the idea that power creep there's the idea that power creep is the only thing that got the Holy Knights up out of here, but that's actually not just it. It's also because Nakaba sort of ran out of interest in them as characters. And the thing is, I can sort of understand why. Because due to the fact that the Holy Knights were meant to be like antagonists that were never really antagonists throughout the entirety of the first season, like they were literally just red herrings for the real villain, which was Henriksen, who was a red herring for the real villain, who was Dreyfus, who was a red herring for the real villain, who was Fraudrin. So the thing is, the Holy Knights themselves were never meant to be antagonists, and due to the fact that we already had 7 mainline heroes, Nakaba pretty much ran the numbers on them calculations and said, darn, I don't want a 1,000,000 chapter series, I'm gonna have to cut some characters. And thanks to the fact that they had already gone through their character arc, really, look at Gilthunder, look at Hauser, look at Griamore, look at all these big main Holy Knights. Even arguably Hendrickson, well, the moment he was free, like there are so many characters in the Holy Knights that sort of just got pushed to the wayside, and that's mainly because the narrative didn't have much time for them. We get glimpses. Like, one of my favorite moments for Hauser's character is when he's sparring with Gilthunder after the whole deal with the 7 deadly sins and the 4 archangels. Like, these two are talking about something that would be really interesting for them to talk about, and something I would definitely use more in order to give the Holy Knights something to do, and that is talking about their power inadequacy and how they feel so worthless and how they can't help out the people they care about because they aren't strong enough. And that's the thing. If you don't want to power creep the Holy Knights and you don't want to keep them up with the rest of the narrative, this is the way you do it. You simply have them focus on the idea that they aren't enough. They simply aren't strong enough, they aren't fast enough, their abilities aren't good enough, there's nothing they can do. And then you train. And the thing is, the training doesn't necessarily have to amount to much. Because to be fair, Hauser and Gilthunder trained. They did a little bit of training, didn't do much for the narrative. One, I'm probably assuming because Nakaba forgot. And two, it's also just the fact that they didn't get enough out of it. So let there be a constant character struggle with these inherently good characters, because that's the main issue. Like, none of these characters have like truly deep, dark backstories after the first season, because they aren't working for anyone under malicious orders, and they aren't really evil. I don't know, it's just not what they are. So they don't have any real character growth to leap off of. And that's the thing, a lot of the 7 deadly sins who have good character growth, they have tragedy. They have things that, like, they legitimately need to grow past. Trauma, essentially. They have things you can work with character wise. But considering how much of a character writer and much less of a story writer that Nakaba is, it's not entirely surprising to me that he was just like, oh, these characters, they don't really serve a function anymore, let me just write them out of the narrative. And he did. That's why Gilthunder became a Margaret puppet. That's why Griamore became a Veronica puppet. That's why even my boy Hauser sort of just got sidelined despite his whole big promotion to Holy Knight captain. Like, the thing is, he wanted to put them places to support other characters because he couldn't find a place for them without other characters. I think that's why he had they'll just take over a bunch and have them kill basically half of them. Like, Gustav dies, Marmos dies, a whole bunch of Holy Knights just die, reasonably out of nowhere. Like, it sort of builds tension, but nah, a lot of them just died because Nakamo's like, well, I gotta chop down the character count so I don't have to remember this. Like, why do you think Escanor's, well, that's the thing. That isn't entirely just that, but Escanor's cruel son melted their armor so they could die to random stab wounds from other Holy Knights that were taken control of and thus written out of the narrative, bada bing, bada boom. And that left us with a few core Holy Knights like the Idiot Trio and Hendrickson and Dreyfus. To be fair, Dreyfus wasn't even freed at that point. So it leaves our few remaining Holy Knights with few little things. And look, and honestly, when you think of the death count, like Holy Knight death count is super high in the series. It's for a reason. It's because Nago didn't feel like writing them. And I can get that. However, if we do feel like writing them, which I do, I would very much appreciate these characters going further, not just power-wise, but also character-wise. I would still keep their whole storyline being about the fact that they're physically inferior. However, I would have it so they're actually training to overcome this. One of the most interesting points in Seven Deadly Sins that sort of never gets addressed is the idea that the humans have soaked up the mana of Britannia. And the main reason a war was even being fought over Britannia was not only for the Demon Clan or the Goddess Clan to take absolute control, but also because Britannia was overflowing with magic power. Like, it's just what happened with that part of the world. It was a very important ground that allowed a lot of people to get stronger. Like, it has the Lake of Salisbury, which literally has an infinite, like, it's basically Merlin's Infinity in a lake. It just has endless magic. So it's understandable why the Demon Clan and or the Goddess Clan would want that, because look at what they did for Merlin, who was a being with endless magic. However, the thing is, humans absorbed a lot of it. And that's why I'm assuming they started to manifest powers. Because if you look at the humans in the beginning, like the ones that were working with Ro 3,000 years ago, they didn't really have magic. They were sort of just physically gifted. That was about all they had. They weren't throwing out spells, they weren't doing any of that. But years upon years upon years have passed. Not only has magic developed, but it's developed as like an internal part of humans. Like, you're born with a certain magic that happens to connect you to a certain concept of the world. Gilthunder has the whole lightning concept, including his father Zaratros. You have Hauser with the whole concept of wind. You have Gila with the whole concept of explosions. You have Jericho and Gustav with their whole concept of ice. Like, these beings are inherently tied into the world, and I feel like you can almost like kill two birds with one stone by fixing the chaos mess too. Like, if you want to allude to chaos more, and like chaos essentially making the world and being a part of it and producing all of it, have the humans, which are chaos's favorite creation, be beloved by mana. Like, I'm caught up on Black Clover, by the way. So thing is, I will be making a lot more Black Clover references, and honestly that's where sort of this idea comes from. But allow their power growth to come not from the fact that they're just getting stronger for no big bad reason, or the fact that they have goddess powers or they have some external power, such as the case of Bon, Escanor, or just characters getting stronger because of their previous selves, such as Meliodas, or even King having like personal development and growing with that. Have them get stronger because they're more accumulating themselves to the world around them. Like, they're starting, it's almost like Diane's little arc where she's like trying to become one with the earth, but let it like straight up actually happen for humans. Like, Gilthunder gets closer and closer to electricity the stronger and stronger he gets, and due to him taking in more power from the world itself, sort of like expanding his magic reservoir by simply letting go of the boundaries that exist between the mana inside him and the mana outside of him, he gets stronger for it. But of course, it is going to have to come with a drawback, and that drawback could very easily be his need to be stopped. Like, he can't control it all at once. He can sort of use it as this big berserk mode, but then he has to come back from it. Same for every Holy Knight. Every Holy Knight, ironically enough, controls some sort of concept, including Dreyfus, which is kind of weird. It's just willpower. Like, he's literally just willpower manifested. That's why his raw energy break is kind of perfect for him. So it makes it that the more and more a Holy Knight grows, the more and more powerful they'll get, but the higher and higher risk it is. Like, Gilthunder, Hauser, Grimoire could become pure wall. But the thing is, these characters can grow more powerful. Their attack and defense and speed can all grow, but the cost would come from them simply not being able to control it. The sheer damage, the rest it could take, the ability to not control themselves, stuff like that, just to give the power a cost. And the thing is, you can even work in the archangels somewhat. You can work in these beings that are closer to their elements anyway. Like Tarmiel would have been a great example for them to show how they can get to this almost pure magic state, because Tarmiel is ocean. Like, he and his grace are pretty much intertwined at that point. Look at Sariel. He uses a lot of his abilities on a reaction. He doesn't really have to command himself too much. He sort of has like passive gestures for these powerful attacks. Like, sort of, they seem more intertwined with the nature of their grace than they are. They aren't so much using the grace as a weapon, more so they're using the grace as an extension of themselves. And that's what I want the Holy Knights to do. Let them grow alongside our main cast. They don't have to be as strong. Nakaba, I know you want to make the 7 deadly sins the strongest of the strong, but simply allow them to be useful. And while technically they are useful, we do get to see them fight off in some red demons and gray demons. I mean, like, you get Hauser, Griamore, and Gilthunder together, and they take on a commandment. I mean, when the Endura spawn pops up at the end of the series, as cool as that moment is for Escanor, seeing the idiot trio just get bullied isn't that good. So that could be like a culmination where they, after all this time, all this practice, sort of like infusing themselves with the mana around them, which ties them closer to chaos, because of chaos being an abstract concept and them taking control of these abstract concepts and becoming one with the abstract concept, them defeating the Endura spawn, them protecting Leonis, them acting as like the final guard. It would be good. It would allow them to keep their Holy Knight role as protectors while going through their own arc about not being strong enough to be protectors, on top of them developing more powers, which are based on the original powers they already had. It's like, it's very much a multi-layered thing. Like, you have to keep stacking things on top of each other, but I think that works. Nakaba is very much a build a block kind of guy. Like, he's very indirect about what he's doing. You sort of have to look at the building blocks and see where it leads to. He's definitely a staircase kind of guy, so I feel like this idea would work, especially considering how hard humans are pushed as like this special race, but really only the ones that are using outside power are the ones that are special. Like, legitimately, that's about it. You look at Arthur, he's using chaos magic, which is technically a variation of human magic, but still, that's not Arthur's own power. You take a look at someone like Escanor, he's using goddess power. You look at someone like Bond, he used fairy power. Like, these beings are strong in of themselves, but really their main source of strength comes from the outside factors. I think you can kind of work that in, except you're just using the general mana in the environment, like the magic of the world, to make our characters more powerful. And I think that's the trade-off you gotta have. Like, the 7 deadly sins can get strong because of their innate potential as warriors. Like, Melios was born extremely powerful. Diane was considered a prodigy. King is the fairy king. Merlin was considered a child of prodigy nature. You take a look at Bond. Bond, I mean, he wasn't really a prodigy, but still, he has immortality. Like, these beings were meant to be strong. Meanwhile, the Holy Knights were not meant to be strong, but they work for it. It could basically be a message of hard work, sliding in there beneath all the other stuff about character and stuff like that. Like, it's a hard sacrifice to make, but I think that's the best way to tackle the Holy Knights as a group. I would love to see a pure gravity Marmos. Like, he's a walking black hole. That'd be so cool. But the thing is, that's for like a general fix. I was initially going to go into depth on like multiple different characters and how I think you can fix their arcs individually. And the thing is, I even like some arcs of certain characters. It's just that some of them don't conclude, or like when they conclude, it's not enough. And like, you have your Dreyfixens, you have your Dreyfus, your Henriksen, you have those characters like that who are Holy Knights who do have arcs, but it's just, they're getting their own videos where we talk about maybe not their wasted potential, but just them as characters and what it would add to them to make them a little bit better, a little bit extra sprinkle. And that's the thing. I try to hit the Holy Knight groups as a whole here, so I won't go into depth on any specific characters, but like, take the idea of me saying, like, you know, the mana world, or not necessarily mana world, that's a weird way to put it, but take the idea of me talking about the Holy Knights fusing themselves with the world around them in order to grow magically by simply breaking down the boundaries between their physical bodies and the magic around them to sort of become like Chaos, an abstract concept of pure power, to more closely relate them to being Chaos's favorite creation because they're the most like him. Allow that to perfectly be the way that Holy Knights grow and stay relevant in the narrative, alongside giving them their own sort of pseudo character arc, with them not being strong enough and them working to be strong enough and struggling with that work to be strong. But that is my solution. What solution do you have? Please tell me in the comment section down below. We already sort of talked about the Holy Knights' wasted potential, and I'm glad you guys did last week. I'm glad we got a lot of that out. However, now, enough of knowing what the problem is, let's talk about trying to fix it. That's the fun idea about the wasted potential series. I enjoy bringing up aspects of series and their characters and trying to like tweak it or fix it or like say what I would have liked to see with that wasted potential. This is all of what I want to see. Tell me if you agree with me in the comment section down below. Tell me if you would do something else, and please, I want to read it, because the Holy Knights really have so many different routes they can go down. I just went down this one because it's the simplest one I could think of, and it could be easy enough to write in. But that's just me. Please tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with a Pencil, writing off.